Hello, everybody. My name is Juan Carlos Brando. Thank you for joining us today with this show before the holidays, before the celebrations for every single family. Tomorrow is, for some people, Hanukkah, is Christmas, is holidays. Well, everybody has a feast for this end of the year, 2021, which has been a challenging year, but we're here. We're still alive. We're still going through and trying to make it over this 2021 year, the second year of the pandemic, but we are overcoming it. And thank you so much for joining us today. And I would like to thank Ms. Wong for being with us today and having her time to answer some of our questions. Hello, Ms. Wong. How are you doing today? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm doing very well. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Ms. Wong. And well, this is a new year that we are almost ending. A lot of people are having the celebration of Christmas, Hanukkah, end of the year. I forgot some other celebrations, the name of some other celebrations, but for sure, everybody has a reason to celebrate and get together with their families. How do you make a balance of this year after almost 365 days?
Oh my gosh. Looking back, it has been a wonderful year because for the past quite a few years since my husband passed, I've been traveling a lot and more after my mom passed. So now suddenly March of last year to about the middle of this year, I stopped traveling and I started traveling again, but only to one or two cities a week, not to the extent that I have been doing in the past like 10 years. Um, it's very nice because sitting in the office give you time to think, to get the workflow together. I sort of enjoyed it. So we'll have to see how next year goes. So everybody, make sure you do your New Year's wishes. And I always thought we should write down three people we admire, especially foreign people like us, because most of our families are not here. So always think about, for example, who do I respect, and and you keep it in a drawer. Next year at this time, look back and say, "Oh my gosh, now I respect so and so. Who do you want to emulate? Who do you want to become when you grow up one day?" And don't worry about other people. Worry about yourself. I think that's important. It's easy to say, I want to lose weight, I want to be smarter, but I would look at objectable, um, objective goals. Like next year, I want to make so much money a year. It should be a number that you can relate to. And it doesn't hurt to go high. I mean, the most you do is not to reach it, but give yourself reachable goals. I need to stop fighting with my husband. I allow myself 2 fights a month, but no more than three. I mean, these are important, I think, objective number goals. I want to read 10 books a year. I want to read one book a month. I want to read 3 books a week. So these are things, and I want to finish at least one book a month. Because sometimes you read 10 books and you couldn't finish it, because you just didn't like it or whatever. So, listeners, that's what I do. I like to sort of make myself some goals so I can reach it.
And that's good, Ms. Wong. And this year has been well, it's good for readers because some people just watch movies, which is interesting. The way of reading now is changing because people now don't buy the actual book, but they buy the book online or the audiobooks so that they can listen to it while driving or while traveling, which is good. But these are challenges that we are facing for now to the future. We started to work in the past, and we were always thinking about the future. 2000, the year 2000 is going to be the future. What is going to happen there? Well, year 2000 is 21 years ago, and we have seen the future. Telephones with cameras, computers with cameras, streaming from Cleveland and Atlanta right now. And that's been a lot of changes, but some stuff in the immigration field simply just don't change. and that's because the law takes a lot of time, and some people want to keep the old laws to keep the control of the situation in the country. By the way, Jitendra Patel says, Happy Merry Christmas, old staff. Thank you so much. And we start with the first question of today. It says, My son filed I-130 for me and I-485. Can I go to my country and maybe wait there for my approval?
No, you need to file the I-131, the advance parole. Once the advance parole is approved, it takes 2.5 months to maybe 6 months. That once it's approved, you can take the piece of paper, leave America, and come back, and then wait for the approval here. You cannot just leave and wait for approval there. That's another way to get green card, which is the immigrant visa process, the DS-260. So when you do the 485, it's adjustment of status in America. I presume you came to America on a tourist visa. But if you want to leave and wait there and come back with a green card, then you need to do an 824 to send the approved I-130 to your home country, American Embassy, and actually the National Visa Center will go to it. And then you do the DS-260 and come back. That process would take about another 1.5 years.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And I just want to remind everyone that, um, well, Ms. Wong is traveling across the country every week, and she can meet with you in some of the cities that she has offices. So write down the cities that she has offices in, and she will be able to give you an appointment. We are thinking right now about in-person appointments, but for sure we will be fine next year. So if you are in Atlanta, Columbus, Cleveland, um, Chicago, Minneapolis, Memphis, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina, just call the phone number is 216-279-3984. 216-279-3984 is the phone number that you need to dial, and she will be able to give you an appointment. Ms. Wong, are we going to see people next year, in the beginning of next year?
We already have dates booked and flights booked, but right now I'm personally thinking about it because I really don't want our people, because I don't travel alone with a group of us who go together and have fun together. I really don't want our staff to be sick with the virus, because right now it's really bad in Ohio. It's very bad. We already have quite a few outbreaks in our office, so we have been like we close off the whole third floor. We're only operating on the second and first floor, and only with essential people. So we have problems in Ohio now.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. Well, we have an interesting question here, Ms. Wong, and it says, My son lives in the United States. He went alone with his older brother. He got the green card through juvenile status. I presume is word of court probably. And the question is, can he file for me? I am in India, and he is 21 now.
Right. I'm sorry he cannot file for you, because ward of court means that either one or both parents abandoned, neglected, and abused the child. So once they get green cards through what we call the SIJ process, ward of court process, they cannot file for natural parents. Sorry.
Wow. And Miss Wong, if the mother is in the United States and she takes care of this kid, but the other parent is abroad and maybe was abusive, can this person do word of court?
Yes, if it's neglected, abandoned, and abused, they could not, they should not communicate with the parents. Like a lot of times, they may be abusive to the mother, but they are abusive to the kids, but they're really still communicating, because abuse is really a very social, cultural issue. In countries like a lot of Latino countries, even in Hong Kong and China, when I was brought up, of course, I'm 72 years old, my parents would just slap us, or pull our ear, you go to the corner, they'll just slap us with our heads, with our butt, and we take it. And my mom is so perfect when she slapped. Even when I was in my 20s, I was already a lawyer. I went back home to visit her because I didn't see her for years, because in those days we don't travel. I mean, until my green card, I couldn't travel. So, and she just slapped me in a cab. I mean, I'm like, my first thought is, how dare she? Because I was already living in America for 8 or 9 years. And I remember, oh my gosh, she always have slapped me. I mean, you don't do something, they slap us. In today's world, it's abuse. But in those days, it's like, unless they love us, why should they waste time teaching us? And I keep thinking, if she never slapped me, would I be who I am today? So interesting. Abuse is a very interesting, like in Chinese, boyfriend, girlfriend. I have cases where they'll type in Chinese, 我要杀了你. But that's very much a lover's say, I'm going to kill you. And even now, sometimes I text my colleagues, co-workers, oh, you're going to kill me. So in America, this is like a threat, I'm going to kill you, terrorism. In China, especially in Chinese, when a Chinese talk to a Japanese, or even a Korean talk to a Chinese, we say, "Oh, you're gonna kill me." I'm not. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna kill you, but I'll say, "Oh, you're gonna kill me because I didn't do something, or I didn't call our client." Or even with my clients, say, "You're gonna kill me. I didn't have time to call you today. Do you mind if I call you tomorrow?" So does that mean kill? Is that a terrorist? I mean, so it's a cultural thing. A lot of these words. And I actually won some Chinese cases because with some sympathetic prosecutors, because the prosecutor would show me a text in Chinese, like a year's text, and the American professional translation. That because I read Chinese, I mean, not as good as I should be, but I do read it. So I explained to her, in Chinese, this means this, even though this is a correct, professional, certified translation, it doesn't mean this. So the nuance of the translation. And now I'm actually reading quite a few translated books from Middle Eastern language. That was a very famous translator. I couldn't remember his name. He's known as an awesome translator. I'm reading all his books now because he just passed away. So translation, culture, abandonment issue is also involves culture.
Yes, Miss Wong, and adding to your comment about saying you're gonna kill me or I'm gonna kill you, I remember Serena Williams, which is a very famous champion in the women's tennis. She was mad in the U.S. Open about 10 years ago, maybe, and she wasn't happy with the referee with one of the decisions, and she said, "I'm gonna kill you," and she was suspended. She was suspended because she said it, and I mean, of course, we know she didn't mean to say that, or she didn't mean to say that she was gonna kill her, but well, it's something that you shouldn't say. So it's about culture and about what we have lived in the United States. A lot of terrorism has been experienced in the last 20, 25 years, and people sometimes just get really scared. But thank you for this reflection, Ms. Wong. And
For
it's
the
really,
listeners here, Mr. Juan Carlos, my good friend here, he loves sports. I mean, he loves sports. So anybody who wants Mr. Juan Carlos to help you or to talk to you, bring up a sports figure. He knows all the nuances. Actually, he does his own sports show and his Facebook stuff on sports. I mean, he's awesome. Yeah.
thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And yeah, we try our best to do, well, what we love. And that's one of the things I love. And thank you so much. Well, we have a next question. And this one says, once I get my British citizenship, can I travel to the United States with my UK passport, or I necessarily need to apply for my tourist visa?
No, you don't need a tourist visa. There are Actually, tourist visa means the 6 month, the white piece of paper, but now it's all on the ice locator now. So number one, can I travel with British passport? Absolutely. Number two, do you need to apply for tourist visa? You don't, because tourist visa is the multiple 10-year, 5-year one. Number three, you should be traveling on ESTA, or what we call the visa waiver. There are two types of visa waiver, WT and WB. WB is a waiver for business. WT is waiver for tourists. You pay like $12, $15, and you give them fingerprints, and they'll give you a 2-year stamp. That's what we call the ESTA, the old visa waiver. So England have that. So congratulations. The good thing about ESTA is you don't need to apply for it. You just pay, give them fingerprints. They should give you 99% of Brit people travel with that. The bad news is once you come to America on ESTA, no extension, no change. The virus give you like 30 extra days because of the virus, but it doesn't mean too much. So no change of status, no extension of stay.
And I have to say that I have a family member that she came from Europe last year, and she got stuck here because of the virus, and she had to stay about 2 months extra. And well, she just returned about a month ago, and she didn't have any problems. But yeah, she did the voluntarily departure or some process before leaving, so that the United States knew that she had the intention of leaving the country, but because of the virus she got stuck here. So yeah, but she made it back here, and she's so happy right now.
Oh, that's a good point. So what Mr. Juan Carlos is saying is that even if you leave, so a normal process is if you overstay the 90 or another additional 30 days without permission, you won't ever be able to come back on ESTA. You have to apply for a tourist visa, and normally that will be denied because you overstayed. So what Mr. Juan Carlos is saying, that even if she had overstayed last time, she managed to come back this time without them canceling the visa. So that's a major point. So
Yes,
that's very nice. Yeah.
she had to do something before leaving the United States, so that the administration knew that she was leaving the country, uh, and that she didn't mean to overstay here, so that
Good.
they didn't put a bar or something. That's something that people can do, and the good point is that she came back and they let her in.
Got it.
That's the
And
good
which
thing.
airport did she come through? Which airport?
Miami,
Miami.
Miami Airport.
Good.
Yes, that's the one of the main ones.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. If you need more information, please give us a call. The phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. And this is another question. Hi there, I am your old customer. I had a question. This person is Russian or Roshan. I had a quick question. Today, when I entered the United States using green card, the immigration agent said that she couldn't see my previous entry in the US in her system. Is there a website or anywhere I can get arrival departure information? I am a
Yes.
green card holder.
Yes, there is. It's if you call my office, ask for Mr. Leo. Leo will be able to tell you. If you type in the passport number, right? You type in the passport number.
I-94 website.
It's called the I-94 website, and you type in your name and your passport number. And if you couldn't find it, type different names, because sometimes immigration is weird, because like Chinese, we use our last name first, and then stuff like that. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is check with the U.S. visit. The U.S. visit have, but in order to get it, it takes about 2 or 3 months, and you need a fingerprint, and they will tell you. But I won't worry about those entry, because right now American entry is weird, especially you already have the green card. But that's why I always tell my clients, make sure you do the boarding pass, because a lot of people, what we do, I know I've been doing this for 45 years, so we need to know all the tricks of the trade. For example, I'll buy a ticket, I'll send my friend to go in, and then I tell people I left in the olden days, right? Nowadays, you make sure you keep your boarding pass and your tickets so they know you left and they know when you come back, because you should come back once every 6 months. There's no exception for the virus. If you have a re-entry permit, you need to come back once every 2 years. And that website is called the I-94 website.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I will write it down for the comments so that you can have the information. And if you need more information, this person says that he is filing for citizenship soon. So if you need advice from our attorney Margaret W Wong, if you are an old customer, she will be happy to help you in your immigration case. The phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. The next question says, I am from Colombia, entered with tourist visa. Can I file for asylum? A family member has threatened me because of an inheritance that he wants to steal from me and my family.
Okay, it's a very good question, because the sad thing about America now is we have a lot of clients, especially from country that's like developing countries that at one time is doing so well. That's how you get tourist visa, because if you're poor, you never get a tourist visa anyway. So if you're upper middle class and you have a degree, you had a good job, that's how you get the visa. But now all these countries are falling down, so economically they're very bad. Number one, asylum, you have to file within a year of entry. The exception is if you enter legally, they give you 6 months. So technically you have, even though it's still 1 year from date of entry, you can argue because you have a student visa, you have a tourist visa, the 1 year rule doesn't apply. But more important than that, if there's a fear of going back or not going back but staying here, it has to be because of nationality, race, political opinion, religion, and member of a special group. If it's only for inherit, that means you're rich. I mean, you have something to inherit, So threat only means that did you report to police? Is there a physical threat? What happened? Did police investigate? What's the threat? Because if someone just threatened to take your money, it's really not asylum, because it has to inure back. The harm has to have the nexus. Nexus means connection to who you are, what you do, and the connection to the harm. And it has to have, it's not just about money. So it is the inability of the government to support you. So for example, my stepfather was threatening to assault me and threatening me I cannot tell my mother. But I went to the police. The police said it's a family matter. They're not going to do it. I went to my pastor to ask the pastor to go to the police. The police still won't do it. And I have proof of all that. And also, so that have a nexus, that's a harm, right? And it's the inability of the government or inability of because this guy is very powerful, or he's he's a son of my mother's employer, and my mother have no babysitter, so she always brings me to work, and the rich son always take advantage of me. In fact, I was pregnant because of him. By the time I tell them my mother about died because she doesn't want to lose her job. And then the son threatened me and said, don't tell anybody, because his parents would disown him. So these may be potential asylum grounds, right? Because it's the Me Too movement that you empower men in power. In your case, it's more inheritance. So I'm not saying no, I'm not saying yes, but did you report to police? Is that a mafia case? Are your cousins member of someone? They will scare you by putting signs on your door, stuff like that. And I know in Latino countries, police is not. That's why whenever I ask, did you report to police? People say, Mexico is not like America. Brazil is not like America. You call 911 for everything. There's no such number, and if you call them, they won't even come for 10 days. So we need to explain to American government these things. And let me, in the meantime, also talk about citizenship requirement. I have a client here who I hope I got you my green card, and it sounds like it's approaching the 5 years. So as long as you have cumulative, you don't have to be, every 6 months, but if you have accumulated 30 out of past 6 years, 60 months. So for example, I got my green card 8 years ago. within the past 5 years, I accumulated 30 out of past 60 months with the green card. Traveling into America, you filed 5 years of tax return in the past 5 years. If you got the green card through marriage, even if you're divorced, it has to be a good, a valid marriage. If it's a 3 year, but it's 5 years, they don't really ask those questions. Then you should be able to get citizenship. And as long as you answer, 10 or 5 out of the 128 questions, you should be able to get citizenship. If you fail the first test because of English and history, you have a right to, not right, a privilege to take the second test. It's unlike the olden days when I became a citizen. So if I keep failing, they let me, go back testing. Now, if you pay the $730 or something, you can take 2 tests. If you fail the second one, you pay again and do the test. It's not that difficult to become citizen.
Okay, that's good, and I recommend for someone who is just waiting for the citizenship but already has the time, and is already in the time of doing that. Just go ahead and do it. It's not just a benefit; it's a right that you will have because you become part of this country. And well, Ms. Wong, the person of the prior question was stating that this person in the family is part of the guerrilla in Colombia, which is the paramilitary or militia against the government. So they are a really bad threat and they are considered terrorists in Colombia.
That's very good. Yeah, that may be. So then the question is, how do you know? Did he ever threaten? I mean, American immigration is weird. They ask you questions that you thought is just common sense. They'll ask you, were you past threatened? If not, how do you know you will be threatened? And if not, when did that person die? How much is the inheritance? What amount is involved? Who has the inheritance now? Is it in the bank? So if you can answer all those questions, you don't have a bad case.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And don't forget that Ms. Wong has offices in 9 cities of the United States, in Atlanta, in Columbus, Chicago, Cleveland, Memphis, Minneapolis, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. My husband and I, we are Mexican. We have an autism child. He's Mexican as well. We are suffering persecution in our country. Last week, my brother-in-law was kidnapped and murdered. Can we apply for asylum?
Number one, if you enter within a year, 1 year filing is always better than 2 or 3 year filing. Number one. Number two is people do get murdered. In Cleveland, we have a very high murder rate, so we need to find out who murdered him, and also get the death certificate, because sometimes you and I think it's murder. The death certificate said it's suicide or something, so we have to prove it's murder. Who murdered him? Did someone report to police, or is it a random act of violence? Then it's not asylum. Asylum has to have a connection to you, the nexus to you, to the harm. And did those people threaten you? Under Trump, the fact that a brother or uncle was murdered doesn't mean you are murdered. Biden, little bit is taking back family asylum back, but asylum is getting harder and harder because everybody now, as I said earlier, there's no new law. After December 2000, when 2-1-1 started, and then President Fox came with Bush. Since then, no new law. Quota remains the same. Everything is the same. So asylum, you have a quota. So and 10-year cancellation, a quota. So the judges are very stringent on asylum. Immigration is more stringent on asylum case. Also, there's a prosecutorial bar. So, for example, we just handled a case where everything is perfect. The husband is in America, American citizen. The wife went to the interview, and during the interview, and she's a doctor. So during the interview in China, automatically those locals, they first, when I say local, that means people who speak Chinese and people who are from their own homeland, they interview you first, and then they go to the back where the real American officer report to them the findings, and the American officers made the final determination. So the first question the local asked the client is, are you a doctor? And she said yes, and she's sort of proud of it, and she is proud. So the next question, are you what kind of doctor are you? I'm a gynecologist. So immediately the local officer went to the back, and they came back with a 221G letter. Even though it's not a denial, it's really a denial with a one paragraph saying that you have performed abortion and forced IUD, which is weird. So when I saw the 221G letter, I said, that's ridiculous. So I called my client and said, did you ever answer? Did you do it? She said, no. They just assume because I'm a gynecologist that I do abortion, I do force, because abortion and forced IUD in America is considered an asylum ground. So that's a persecutorial waiver. That's a bar. That means I helped terrorists. I helped people perform bad acts. So these are cases where they don't have to ask; they just assume it's common sense. So that's why I'm trying to tell you, before you do asylum case, you really need to consider consequences. The good thing about asylum is you get a work permit after the new law is after 385 days. After 1 year. So 365 days. But the real thing is you join a membership in CASA ASAP and do it after 151 days. But the thing is, even if you get the work permit, can you get yourself the green card? Can you win? Yeah.
Yes, and that's the most important thing, because you can have a work permit for several years, but after the interview or after the hearing, what is going to happen if you lied in your asylum application, or if you said something that you didn't have the foundation for that? You might be in trouble. So the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. And the last question, Ms. Wong, is really quick. Hi, I'm your customer, and you will apply my work permit or you applied for my work permit in August, and we get the receipt on August 30, but now it's almost 4 months, and we have not received nothing. How long are we going to wait for the work permit?
That's a very, very good question. The whole America, including my office, we're waiting for work permits. The good news is your receipt notice. If you look at the middle right-hand side, they have a 180-day extension. Since it's an extension, you need to take this receipt. If your driver's license are expiring, show the driver's license people this receipt. Sometimes they will give you 1 year. Sometimes they will give you a 6 months extension. Right now, we have clients who filed work permits in February and March. They still didn't get them. DACA, we have seen cases where we filed in January. We still didn't get them, but parole is coming down a little bit faster. A work permit on asylum and a TPS, you don't need extension anymore. It's in the computer. But other work permit, most work permit on asylum, 42B is getting very, very slow, DACA. But work permit on green card application is getting faster. You're still getting it 2.5 to 3.5 months. So for you, thank you for using our office. But more than that, show anybody who wants to look at it 180 days. Receipt. If you need a letter from us, just call my office and we'll give you a letter to confirm. If you want us to talk to your employer, I would love to do that for you. It's not a problem. I just need to protect your job. But most sophisticated employers, they know this 180 days is an extension of their work permit.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for all these answers and this information. Well, I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and see you next week. Thank you for
Same
all
to
your
you.
support and everything you do for our audience, for the people, for the community everywhere, from everywhere. And well, we hope to keep working hard for the immigration cases for people in the year 2022. And thank you so much, Ms. Wong.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for everybody who is joining or who has joined us today, thank you so much. And don't forget that you can call the phone number 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. See you next time, and Merry Christmas.